What's up, everybody? If you are in the chat, let me know. Give me a hey. We're a couple minutes behind, but not to worry. Just had some audio trouble. Hopefully that's squared away. See, we're slowly connecting. Let's see. I've got, it says YouTube for one of them's connected.
YouTube, just waiting on both Twitch streams.
So we're just waiting to see if we can get everybody online. What's up, Blair? How you doing, dude? See you on YouTube. That's good. Sweet. Serge, what's up, dude? What's up, Mark? Oh, hi, Mark. MoGraph Retail Heaven. What are you doing, Blair? You at like a super micro center, Best Buy, or whatever you have down under there in Kiwi Land? Oh, hi. Let's see. I'm still just showing only YouTube for chat. But so if you're on another chat, it seems like we're having some trouble. Oh, I'm seeing connecting now. It's working on it. All right. I'll give it another minute or so. So anyone that's been watching, you'll see that I've changed my screen around a little bit. So I'm now on screen 2 plus my full Cinema4D, so we can kind of interact a little better. Let me move myself over. Seems a little bit more center, I guess. Whatever. Good enough. Hey, Zubair, what's up? That's awesome. Yeah. Last time I saw Zubair and actually met him was when Octane Jesus was moving. Yeah, he just did an Octane tutorial like 2 days ago. No, Zubair. Zubair did an Octane tutorial. Really? Yeah, it was like for some chess pieces. Yeah. All right, guys. So as people start to roll in and the channels still connect and everything with Restream, I'm just going to start rolling with this. If you have questions, you know the deal. Just shoot me a question. Little forewarning, my hard drive crashed yesterday, so I don't have like HDR link and stuff installed, so we're going to just be doing like some cool manual lights right now. But let me just go ahead and turn on this preview here. Might take a second for processing textures. Looks like it. Hopefully it's not freaking out because of all the hard drive reconnects. It was Photoshop. Oh, okay, Photoshop. Sorry, man. I thought it was Octane, but didn't you use Octane with it? All right, so what we're going to be talking about is how I went about putting a label on this. And this came about because one of the viewers, Andre, was watching and asked me how to put a label on a can, and it started getting all weird. So I decided I just wanted to figure it out. So these are some mega seeds from Rick and Morty. And this is a bag over here that I downloaded off TurboSquid. These are some seeds that I made. It's just a simple shape and then some textures thrown on it. So I'm going to walk you through the process a little bit. And I've moved my shader graph up here just so it can be like a one-to-one relationship for you guys. So if I click on my sachet, which is the texture for this bag here, and go in, sort of take a look around. So I'm going to go ahead and just start disconnecting some of the stuff and see how it's built. And we'll go ahead and skip the blender, go right in here. All right. So the way that I've got this built is there's just a plain old RedShift material, and I'll disconnect this here. And it's being piped into this over here, and it's just a red plastic, nothing fancy. And I've got my shine pretty much where I want it, and then I've got this diffuse of a label that I've made. And if I hit edit image, hopefully it will bring up Photoshop. Go ahead and throw this in Photoshop. You can see that I've got the top part here in the purple with the scissors. We've got the slight faded opacity logo here for Mega, and then all the text down here. So if I go back into Cinema, that's what's piped in right here. And you'll see it's piped into this color layer. If I go back and connect it right into the diffuse, you'll see why I do that. It's going to look really weird. I saw your Pickle Rick, Zubair. That was awesome. All right, so now this is loaded up. You can see it's weird. And the reason that's happening is because it's a PNG. And the way PNGs work is it will save out these transparency areas. But directly out of Photoshop, there's a couple different types of PNGs and alphas. And so right now, it's thinking this is a pre-multiplied alpha when really it's a straight one. So this color layer is in here to help combat that. So I take this diffuse layer, run it into a color layer, put it into the base color, and then into this diffuse. And in the color layer, I've got advanced overlay options selected. So if I turn that off, you'll see that we kind of have this white thing around that. And that's because we need to uncheck this pre-multiplied, because it still thinks it's pre-multiplied. And if we uncheck that, it will work it as straight. And then we get exactly as we want. What's up, Ashton? Thanks for calling me the RedShift man. So here we are. This is pretty much where we want to be. This other diffuse is just a grid that I threw on and thought it was a cool little pattern to have onto it. So I can reconnect that. And so we're off to a good start. But you'll see we don't get any of that transparency that we want. So the way that I did that is by using this plastic material, but putting the transmission up just enough to get that transparency. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that in before I start using this blender that I've got set aside. So right now it kind of looks a little plasticky. If I put up my transmission even more, you'll see it goes transparent. And then inside the bag, we've got this seed. So as I roll that back, we'll just leave a little bit of the seed showing inside the bag. And I'm going to start hooking things up through the mixer. So our base color is actually going to be the transparency. If this was a real print job, you would have this transparent base, and then the label would be printed on top of that. So we're going to treat it exactly the same way as production. And so grab this, becomes our base layer. Grab our original material. It's going to be our second blended material inside here. And we're just going to pipe it back into the surface. Maybe. These dots are so small. And you'll see we start to get what we want. Except we start to get some of the other side coming through because it's not actually blending it how we need it to blend. It's adding everything together because I have this set to additive, and that's exactly what we want. But the transparency is actually showing up everywhere, and we don't want that. So what I've done is I've built a black and white alpha of this original Photoshop file. So all this up here is in black, everything down here is in black, and then everything in here is white. So when I go to use this, double click on that so it opens up. Maybe doesn't want to. Okay, well, drag this into our reflectance weight right there. And so everywhere that it's black, it's going to turn off. And everywhere that it's white, it's going to keep the transparency. What's up, Billy? Oh, man. Periscope just connected finally. I see like 5 notifications there. What's up, Human Resource? Dude, you've been retweeting me like crazy on Twitter if it's the same one that I think it is. Thanks for joining us. So that's pretty much how we get started with this. And I know it's really fast. We have a little bit more detailed tutorial on how to do that. But that's kind of how you can take an advanced label and say you have a graphic designer that comes to you, or you're working on a team that does product mockups. That's this. Yeah, Human Resource, I think so. I'm pretty certain it's you on Twitter, or there's somebody that has Human Resource like name on Twitter that has been retweeting me. Maybe not. I could be senile, but I think it's you. So I'm just going to scroll up, make sure I didn't miss any questions. Zubair, what did you send me, dude? I just got a notification popped up that you sent me something. I'm afraid to look at it. So that's pretty much it. I can show you guys how to do a can really quick if you guys want, or we can just start messing around. The can was from last week. I think I have my presets in here. And I figured out what the problem was, is I just didn't have it set to the right mode. Yeah, dude, Ashton, you should work on any plugins for C4D, dude. There is always a need for more plugins and better workflows. So where was it? I think it was packaging. Yeah, packaging, can of soda. So if we bring this in here, bring this up, and I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, Pickle Rick model. Man, I'll have to open that up and then bring it in with RedShift Rick. So here's the can. And you can see that RedShift handles it pretty well. There's just a little bit of light on this side. But what was happening is if I create a new material and I bring it on here, we need to have this selection tag, so it's only applying to this area. And it also needs to be on cylindrical. And I thought it was needing to be UV mapped. So that was the issue there. So if I go into the soda can, click on this, grab the texture out of here, go into my shader and throw a texture tag here and put it on my diffuse, put that there, then you'll see we start to get what we want. Just need to make sure I actually put this on cylindrical. Oh, no. This is going to screw me over again. Why? I just did this the other day. That's what like prompted the whole tutorial. It's even in the tutorial. I swear. All right. I'm going to undo, see what I'm doing wrong. Back out of this. All right, soda can. Oh, I got a huge RedShift error. Cool. All right, so that's what I get for doing that. Reopen this up. What's that?
Is it file from the other day?
Yeah, it is from the other day, yeah. Well, except that, no, that one wasn't. That can I just put in right now. So, whatever. All right. So, who's got questions? We've got watching that Pickle Rick. Where did Zubair send Pickle Rick to? Zubair, I just got the notification, but I don't know where you actually sent it. Did you email it to me? Maybe I can check my notifications. No. Zubair, if you're still watching, dude, let me know where you sent that.
Facebook.
Oh, it was on Facebook. Okay. All right. You can look at Facebook. Maybe we'll sign in. Let me sign in. Trust site. There we go. I'll just do Facebook. You guys can watch me on Facebook and my dad like Chamber of Commerce stuff and Target. There we go. Pickle Rick. Cool.
Opening up message apps on the screen like a boss.
Yeah, I don't really care. It'll be okay. All right. Oh, Octane. I don't have Octane installed right now, so I guess I'm just going to have to build Pickle Rick right now. Octane camera, light. Get rid of that. What is the capsule? Is that how you built Rick? I guess that's the plane down there. Pickle, eyes, scatter stuff. I don't need that. Cool. I think this is the base of Rick. All right, so this will be neat. I'm going to try and take an Octane material and start converting it. It'll be a little bit tricky because I don't have Octane installed at the moment, but we'll see what I can do. See if it will let me read any of the materials. Nope, but we'll make it work. All right, so start with a new material, and I'm just going to call this Pickle in a second. And bring this up here. I'm going to need some lights. So I'll just do a white dome light for the time being because I don't have HDRI link hooked up either. All right, so Pickle Rick needs to be green. Right now this is just a base plastic, but we can mess around with it a little bit. See, he's probably close to like this dark here. It's looking all right. How do you like RedShift versus Octane? Human Resources asking on Periscope. So I like 95% of RedShift most of the time. There's some things that I miss from Octane, like all the post features, so like blooms and things like that. They're starting to get a little bit better with doing like custom bokeh, and like using that and your depth of field to kind of mimic blooms a little bit. So there's things like that that I kind of miss. I can call you Res. All right, I'll call you Res, like half Res. So it's kind of like that. It's like 95% there, but there's 5% of things that I miss sometimes. What I really like is, to give an example, a few weeks ago, I had to do a project. I had to go back into Octane, and I did all my stuff in Octane. I had to model and texture some stuff, and then when I sent it off to the other designer, they ended up holding up the project for a couple days because Octane couldn't keep up, and they sent it out to a render farm, I believe, and even the render farm couldn't do it because there were errors transferring back and forth and things like that. And I've never run into that with PixelPlow. Like, if I send out my file, it's good and it's fast and it's ready to go. Even locally, I know I can leave my machine running overnight and it will work fine. So it's a lot of stuff like that. What's up, MC Milstead? That's Matt. So that's kind of what's going on. Gabe, I see you just joined on Periscope. So somebody else asked a question. I just saw. How many times to use real stuff in a real project so far? I've been using RedShift for about 6 months. So if I have a project and I can use it, I will. And a lot of the times clients don't really seem to care what I use as long as I just give them the final deliverables, so like a DNX file or something like that. All right, so these are going to be eyes, and we'll just make them white, or black, I mean. And then, how do you have this set up? Oh, hold on, is one the actual eyeball? Okay, so that's the actual left eye. Okay, so this is pupil. This is eyeball. This should be pupil, pupil. All right, eyeball, eyeball. Cool. So eyeballs need to be white. So you can see this can be pretty fast if you're just using built-in stuff. I'm not doing anything fancy at the moment. I'm just using all plastic. It looks like his teeth probably need to be white, so I'm just going to copy this and call it teeth. Or are they? Oh, they're kind of yellow. Okay, that makes sense. So we'll make them slightly yellow. Go through this here. That's looking pretty decent. There we go. Let me guess. Is this his eyebrow? Nope, that's the body. Where's his eyebrow? What's this? There it is. Eyebrow. No, that's okay. I'm figuring it out. It doesn't really matter because I don't have Octane installed Zubair, so it's not gonna really matter. So eyebrow is that. It's kind of like a blue. What does Rick's eyebrow look like? Rick Sanchez. Oh, I guess it is kind of that like light blue. I didn't realize it carried over to him. Oh no, you kept his eyebrow the same. Oh. You know what? Let me Pickle Rick. Yeah, it looks like it does. Wow, that is way to go accuracy, Zubair. All right, so we got like this light robin's egg blue kind of going on. Something like that. There we go, Pickle Rick. So it's pretty easy just to go through and convert. If I had Octane installed, I could get really nitpicky with some of these things. But you know, while this is here, why don't we just start having fun? We can kind of put some fingerprints on Rick and dirty him up and kind of make him look however we want. Make him stand up. All right. So his body right here, let's go in here. let's go ahead and bring in, I'm going to bring in a blend material. So we're going to have another material here, and I'm going to make this a little bit darker green. This will be our base for the blender. Put that here. And then this will be layer 2. And that color go like this. All right. Start renaming some stuff. So this can be dark green. So anyone coming from Octane that's watching, this is kind of like using a mixed material. It's just blending two materials together. And the way I'm going to blend this is through just some like grunge and like bumpiness. So I'm going to bring in a texture node, and so I'm just doing a search over here for texture. And let's go find something. These are what I was talking about for custom bouquets. So you can see I was just doing some earlier with another design, and you can find these kind of lens bouquets online. A lot of companies post them, and you can throw them inside your camera tag. I can show you that in a little bit. So let's start here with 3D, and we'll do textures. I think that's where I want to go. No. Where did I put French Monkey? Did I put him in the textures? I don't think so. Nope, he's in stock. That's right. Photos, and then textures in here, TFM, and we'll do smudge. So what I'm going to do is bring in an alpha, and we're going to do this roughness one. That's fine. What's up, A-White? Yeah, Mark, why would you even be using Mental Ray? All right, so this is going to cache in the background for a second, and what you'll see is the green and the light will start to mix together a little bit. It's just doing its thing, thinking. Should be there. Maybe. It's probably because I'm streaming. Yeah, that's right, Billy. Pentax forums. Those are directly from there. All right, so now we've got this piped into here for blend color. I'm going to turn on additive so it starts adding the two together. And it's not going to do much because it's so soft at the moment. So if I get in really close, you can start to see these little scratches in there, but they get a little wonky and they don't really follow along really well. So we're going to do two things. We're going to pull in a triplanar and hook this up to here and bring this in right there. So now if I go back in to where we were just looking, you'll notice that all this gets smoothed out. We have these soft fingerprints in here. That's starting to come through, and we can control it even more if we use a ramp, and that's just a gradient. So if you're coming from Octane, it's the same thing. It's a gradient. Bring this in, do input, go here, and you'll see it's going to get weird for a second. I have to change it from UV map to alt. Once I do that, I'll get a little bit more control. I can start squeezing these down tighter, and now we really starting to get some grungy like fingerprints on Rick. So that's looking pretty good, but we could take it further. I'd like to have a more balanced green for Rick. So what I'm going to do is bring in a noise and another blender, or sorry, layer So what this is a color layer, and it's kind of like what we started with before. And so it's like a mini Photoshop in your Pocket. So what we're going to do is take this original texture, and that will be our base. Sorry, I'm going to need it from the ramp. That will be our base. And for the layer 2 color, or layer 1 color right here, that will be our noise. And then I'm going to hook it up to the triplanar right there. You'll see now we're getting not just that grungy fingerprint texture that we had, but now we're getting the noise mixed in as well. And we can control that all through here too. So we can do like an average where it kind of finds a happy medium. So you can see we're getting some more noise in here, plus the fingerprints as well. I can mask back the noise if I want. So that way it's a little less, or I can bring it in more. I can just add the noise to the fingerprints. Now it's starting to look a little bit more cucumber and pickly. Yeah, pickly. And so we can start to remap some of this too. So if I want to have it stronger or weaker, we can go like that. And we can also control our noise. So right now it's fractal. We can try cellular. That's how it kind of looks like a Voronoi fracture a little bit. If we tone down the complexity and maybe the amplitude a little bit, frequency. That's not really changing much at all for cellular. I was expecting it to do a lot more. How about turbulence? Is that where it changes? Yeah, okay, so turbulence is where it's really gonna change it. We can rein this back a little bit. I think back down at like 2. Not so complex, maybe 3. Frequency, we can ramp it up. Now we're starting to get some cool stuff there. A little bit of distortion in here. How much distortion we want. I think I'm going to go back in here and do average instead. And maybe bring this back. And so really quickly we can start to make Pickle Rick pretty complex for this background texture. And you can do the same everywhere else too. So if you wanted to add details to his teeth and make him look a little bit more grimy or whatever, you can do that too. And for the sake of it, I'm going to turn this noise into a bump as well. So I'm going to grab a bump map out of here. And I'm going to take this noise and drag. Man, these circles get so small in 4K. There we go. Drag it to the input here. And then on this bump, I'm going to go to our original material here. Nope, I don't want the blender. I'm going to go to our dark green up here. Overall bump. You'll see we start to get some bumpiness in there. And I can control this a little bit more, get a little more bump out of it. Maybe go up to like 3 with the height. So now you can see all that complex noise that we were getting is also now acting as a bump in here. So it's like hepatitis Pickle Rick. What's up, Jeff? Thanks for joining us. So I'm going to scroll up and just see if I've missed any questions. Hey, Casey. That's all right, dude. I saw you talking about it in the Slack. By the way, quick little shout out to the Brograph Slack. I know I'm seeing a lot of faces from the Brograph Slack. If you have not joined, definitely go to brograph.com/Slack and come hang out with us in there. Yeah, Sage, a little bit more Pickle Rick. This was sent from Zubair, and it was originally in Octane and converted it to RedShift. So that was kind of a fun little task. So yeah. So we've got that, and I'm trying to think if there's much more that we can do. Maybe we can do some fun volumetrics with Rick. So we could have a plane down here. Bring this down. Start centering that up. And let's say like 2500 by 2500. Just tuning in. Why is that personal massager have teeth? Yeah, so I guess he is kind of a personal massager. He likes to nibble. Jeff, if you aren't aware, this is Pickle Rick from Rick and Morty. If you don't watch Rick and Morty, you should stop watching me and go watch Rick and Morty. So let's do some volumetric smoke. Because I was talking to Raid Zero earlier, and he doesn't like that Octane can't do smoke and VDBs inside VDBs. So let's have some fun with that. I'm going to go ahead. I didn't mean to go smaller. There we go. And create a VDB volume right here. So this RedShift volume. And I'm going to go grab one of Mitch Meyer's packs. If you guys don't know who Mitch Myers is, look him up. He sells VDBs, which are just open source volumes. And they're super easy to work with and fun to work with and saves you a ton of time. So I guess I'll just do like an abstract one. Yeah, that's looking good. Bring that in, copy it to our location. I can't say just stopping in to say hi and keep crushing it. Well, thanks, Sage. I'm glad you think I'm crushing it, dude. You're crushing it with your awesome VR games. All right, so nothing's going to show up, and that's because we don't have a material in there, but I just want to get this up to scale a little bit, so I'm going to do like 20 by 20 by 20, give us a little bit more room to work with at the start, and go ahead and create a RedShift material and then volume. I'll throw this on our volume here, and still nothing's going to happen because we need to do two things. We need a light source that's contributing to our volume. So here's our dome light here. I'm going to go into the volume tab and just add a little contribution right there. And then we need to get the details out of here. So for this particular VDB, the only channel that's available is density. So in our volume here, if we open up RS volume, you'll see scatter and channel. If we just do density, it's going to get all of its important data from that channel. And now we start to see this VDB show up. And it's super quick. So let me just go ahead and scale this up even more. So we'll do like 50 by 50 by 50. And I don't want to move the light. I want to move the volume. Go ahead and put this here. Kind of looks like Pickle Rick has a fro. So super quick. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not sure I even have an Octane render came in with Zubair's file. There we go. Wow, this doesn't need to have so many samples. We'll just do 128. This can be 256. Yeah, I don't have GI on at the moment, so I'll just turn that on for the heck of it, and we'll say 64. Leave that as is.
Billy says make Pickle Rick look like he's vaping.
Make him look like he's vaping. Oh man. Okay. I'll make sure I turn this into some whiter VDB smoke. Millennials will love that. All right, let's get the millennial viewers, which I guess I technically qualify as that. So what we're gonna do is, this is pretty dark and thick. We can start adjusting our scatter, and that will kind of absorb some more light and make it a little bit more white. We can adjust our absorption, and that's going to make it really thick. If we bring it down, it will make it a little bit more white. But if we go into advance and our remap range, if I could say that, we can start bringing this up And you'll see it starts eating away at some of it and getting a little wispy. I bring this back down. And so now it's kind of just a game of playing what will look best. And you'll see it starts to get a little noisy in here, and that's probably because I need to add more samples. I can bring down this density a bit here. So what I'm going to do is go into our render settings, and under basic sampling overrides, I'm just going to make sure our volume has a ton of samples. So like 128. And you'll just see the progressive renderer is going to keep running until it really cleans up. If I turn on bucket rendering, it might clean it up a little bit better. See how that does. VDBs are a little bit heavier, so you'll see it's not going quite as fast. But it's definitely starting to clean up, especially in these end areas. You can see that they get a bit wispy. So he's starting to kind of look like he's vaping, or whatever those big truck drivers do when they roll coal. Isn't that what it's called? So put this in his face here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to progressive and turn on some undersampling. There we go. Starting to get vaping Rick. All right, so we can start to control this even more just by adjusting our curves and things like that. So I'm going to change this to a, let's try cubic. And that's going to get a little too light in spots, so we can feather this a little bit more. Probably bring it, oh, nope, don't want to bring that dark up. I'm glad you love that. So you can see now that we've got our remap ramp right here, that we can start to control it even more. So we've got some noise in here, and that's just sampling that needs to be turned up. No, I don't want the bottom. There we go. If I start to... So that's starting to get a little bit more gray. Probably need to bring this down a little bit. Maybe bring this down some too. There we go. Turn on my buckets again, see how that does. I can just do a little region render too, right here. Yeah, so this is starting to clean up nicely now. Man, this could not have been a better VDB to choose at random for vaping. This is just awesome. All right, so let's talk about VDBs inside volumes and VDBs inside themselves. So one of the questions was, how does RedShift handle multiple VDBs interacting with each other? So I'm going to go ahead and grab a different VDB. Maybe I'll just grab a cloud one. Or no, I've got smoke right here. I'll grab some actual smoke. This might take a second to load. So we'll do like 250 by 250 by 250. Probably doesn't need to be that much. How about 125? We'll just half it. So this is two different VDBs intersecting each other. I'll just show you that they're intersecting right here. And you can see we don't get any weird voxels or things like that. So as soon as I put this on, and I'll even do buckets. Mark, I don't know what emoji you might have just sent because it just showed up as a square for some reason. I don't know if that's part of the restream chat or whatever. I hope you're not giving me the finger, dude.
It's like a sideways laughing thing.
Sideways laughing thing. Okay. I have a translator. But you can see it gets really wispy in here. So this one's supposed to be abstract. This one's actually supposed to be smoke. So it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's turning into smoke as it goes over here. But the details in here don't collide or anything. There's nothing going on with the volumes intersecting. So I guess it was probably the first live stream or second one. We did like 50 by 50 by 50 grid of various VDBs and a cloner. And it held together. It didn't crash. It just kept going. So I guess to top this off, I'll do a RedShift environment. Throw this in here. I'm going to turn off this dome light. It's getting a little too bright. And I'm going to bring in some area lights. And do 0.5. That's got to be too much. 0.05. Probably what I want. Even that's a lot. 0.01. So right now, all this white over here is like volumetric fog. And then we're seeing the harshness of the light there. So that's why that's happening. And if I go into the actual volume and start adjusting the scattering, so we can turn that up. I meant to turn up the attenuation, there we go. Words. It's down. Where'd Rick go? Why am I spreading that out too much? I think so. You know, maybe not an area light. Maybe I should be doing a spotlight. There we go. It's starting to have a little bit more control.
By the way, Mitch says that's exactly what he made that VDB pack for.
Did he made it for Rick and Morty?
To make Pickle Rick face. That's exactly what
That's awesome.
on Facebook.
That's awesome.
He'd like to relay that. Another thing.
So I have Dave from Prograph, and he's on Skype with me right now, and he just told me that Mitch said this is exactly why he made these VDB packs. So Billy, you get a huge high five for suggesting Vapin' Rick. Let's see. So we'll just say 2,500 there. And bring this back up. All right, so now we're starting to get somewhere. I'm going to go ahead and clone this and kind of shuffle this around. A little too much scattering going on. There we go. Just a real light scatter. So we've got just a little bit of volume going on. If I come back in here when this catches up, you can see there's just real light fog. And then you'll see we start to get fireflies. And I've never seen fireflies in RedShift except for with VDBs. It's just one of those things where they're heavy, so they need a little extra oomph. So if I turn on bucket rendering again, let this start going, you'll see the fireflies clean right up. It seems to only be like a progressive render thing, and just VDBs. So, or volumes, I guess, volume and VDBs combined. You want to do Pyro work? You know what? I actually have a Pyro sim I can throw in here, and knock on wood, the person won't care. I don't think they would care. But Mark, can you, if you have a Pyro sim, dude, that you can just save like one frame and send it to me, that would be awesome, and I can demo that. Let me check the smoke here. Does this smoke have any? I know some of Mitch's smoke has temperature in it. Bring this one in. No, I don't need to copy it. Does this one have smoke? Loading. Oh yeah. All right. So I can probably do some fire stuff with this. All right. Let's turn off the environment here. And I'm going to turn off bucket rendering and that. All right. So got a new smoke in here. And this one I'm just going to call fire so I know what I'm looking at. So if we look down here in our channels, we've got density, fuel, heat, and temperature. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up again. And down here, I'm going to do temperature. Hopefully I spelled that right. I think I did. And what it's going to do is start pulling the temperature information into this emissions here. And you can see it's super hot. So I'm going to pull this back. Man, that's still hot. Yeah, there we go. So this vape is exploding. But what you can start to do is remap your colors. So red is actually one of the coldest colors for fire. So we'll do that. And then it kind of goes up into these yellows. That's kind of like a green yellow. Let's see if I can get more of a yellow. And then get that out of there. It kind of goes into a blue as it peaks. And then into white hot. Drag this out. And then maybe we can get a little bit of orange in here too. Let's see, right in there. All right. So we'll let this catch up. You can see on the edges here, it's starting to get a little weird with the voxelization. I don't know if it's because that's so hot or what. Let me see if I turn up the absorption, if that does anything. No. I'm going to go ahead and reset this to default. No, I just want a linear ramp the way it was. And I don't know if Mitch intended this to be used as an actual flame, so we'll find out right now. All right, so we've got that going, and I'm gonna do this as 1 and 1. Start fresh. Turn on this render region. Turn on the bucket rendering. See if that cleans up at all. Let's clean up a little bit. We're still getting some of this voxelization there, and that just may be from scale at the moment. I may need to bring this down a little. So let me see if it's a scale issue. Try like 50 by 50 by 50. Yeah, I think this isn't intended to be an explosion, so all that voxelization is just happening because of the scale it was at. Yeah, because as I scale down, that glow that's coming off of it starts to clean up a little better. But if you are working with Pyro sims or VDBs and you want to take it further, just make sure you're doing as many samples as you can in your VDB, and that will help clean that up too. I really don't think its intention was for this, so don't hold me or Mitch accountable for the way it's looking right now. Go ahead and turn this off again. See if I bring up my shadow density, if that helps. Maybe, yeah, this helps a little bit there. See, I'm remapping the density, and I can remap the emissions a little bit. That gets really hot. Bring this in. There we go. Can start to have the explosion more from the core. There we go. Really starting to clean up. There's a little bit of that weird cube voxelization. I think that's just from adjusting the minimums here. So I'm gonna, no, the max I want, fine. The minimum there. There we go. No, want that. Just do progressive for a minute. Crank this up a little bit more. Try and bring this down. Give this any. Yeah, it starts to get really voxelized. All right, that's all right. Make it even tighter or bigger. Do it bigger like that. Cool. See how this cleans up. So it's getting pretty clean. I could throw more samples at it. You can see it's rendering pretty quick. There's just a couple weird little voxels in there, but I'm not going to complain. So I can make this like Rick is actually exploding, and maybe make this like 15 by 15 by 15. Move it back down here, right at his mouth. That's looking kind of cool. I don't want buckets on. Turn that off. All right. Buckets are coming off. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and throw in another area light over top. Do I not have? Yeah, my undersampling went off. There we go. So there we go. Now we've got smoke, classic smoking Rick, not just vaping Rick. So yeah, pretty quickly you can start playing with VDBs and having them in a full RedShift environment and not really having to do too much. If I just bring up this contribution even just a little bit, you'll see we get a little bit more fog happening. Maybe I can go up to 01. But nothing too crazy. And if I take this volume out of here, oh, that's not what I wanted. Do I not have the environment? Oh, I took the environment out. That's why. Okay. I was thinking this was fog, but that's just the undersampling. There we go. All right, so I'm going to look through the chat, make sure I haven't missed any questions. I did get an email earlier from one of the viewers asking about just showing a quick AOV walkthrough. It's already 10:03, so I think I'm just gonna skip over that right now. I keep holding off on AOVs because they're supposed to be updating them soon. I don't know when that's going to happen. They keep teasing it in the forums, but you're supposed to get more custom AOVs. I can kind of just show it really quickly because I did it for a little promo thing for tonight. So right here, if I open this up, I probably should have stopped RedShift from rendering. I bet it's going to crash. Maybe. Seems to like Rick okay. Oh, nope, it's going to crash. All right, so we'll just call it quits with that. I'm going to go back into this. Yeah, I know you stopped working. Thanks. So, all right, everybody. I just want to thank you really quick for hanging out with me tonight. Had a totally awesome crew in there. So, yeah, rest in peace, Rick. So, you know, thanks for all the questions and interacting. And definitely, Zubair, thanks for the Pickle Rick model. That's really cool. I'm glad you sent that. Now I have Pickle Rick and Rick to work with. And, yeah, that's just cool that you did that so quickly. So if you guys want to interact with me or Brograph more, you should definitely go check out the Slack. It's brograph.com/Slack. It's open to everyone. There isn't like a portfolio requirement or anything. If you're a listener of the show, if you're interacting with us here or watching the tutorials, just come in, hang out. There's a show topics channel and things like that. It's really fun. There's even stuff for Mitch Myers. He's got a Cool Fire channel, and we've got a prayers channel for praying to David Ariev for Octane Jesus, and various other topics like VR. So that's place one. Place two, check us out on YouTube and Twitch and everywhere that you're probably watching these. 3, also Twitter. We hang out there quite a bit, especially myself, and I'm at _5. It's the word 5, F-I-V-E, numeral 31, then at Brograph to find them and follow along. So far, it's been every Tuesday and Thursday. We have a new tutorial on RedShift on Tuesdays, and then Thursdays doing live streams. Dave and I were just talking about possibly changing it up over the next week or two and alternating between RedShift and Octane and maybe some other render engines. So stay tuned. It may not be RedShift next week, may switch around. So just a little hint at that. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. So thanks so much, and I will talk to you either in a tutorial or next week live. See you guys.